Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:07. It's O'Connor and Company on this Tuesday, first day of July, heading into a second half of this 2025. Coming up later in the program in 30 minutes, Phil Wegman, White House reporter for Real Clear Politics. Then at 8:05, our friend Brad Thor. He's got a brand new summer thriller out, Edge of Honor, and it's a good one. I can tell you that. I'm Larry O'Connor. Hey, aren't you Julie Gunlock?
I am. Good morning.
My gosh, I know you. I've seen you on the TVs. Good to talk with you, Julie. And it's good to talk with Maryland Delegate Mark Fisher, who, like me, is a fellow Marylander. And we love our state. We love being here, but Mark, it just got a little bit more expensive to call ourselves Marylanders, didn't it?
Good morning. Yes, July 1st, the $1.6 billion of taxes just kind of go into effect. It's all fees and new income taxes, higher income taxes, capital gains tax increases, a tire tax. By the way, you already pay 6% when you buy your tires for your cars, but Maryland, you also pay a recycle fee. A lot of people don't know that already. In addition to the 6, but Maryland wants an additional $5 per tire for recycling, even though they're already charging you for that. They're charging us. By the way, and my personal favorite is the from $5 to $12. They're increasing the license for seniors who are fishing in freshwater ponds or streams. And the penalty, of course, is if you are a senior and you're caught without a license, you're sent to the villages, naturally. So,
I mean, Maryland is already one of the most expensive states to retire in, as it is. And so, if I remember Governor Westmore saying at one point, I want to make Maryland a welcome place for retirees to spend their golden years. So you're retired, you want to spend your rest of your days at the Chesapeake Bay going out and fishing every day, and now you got to spend that much more money for a fishing license. That's insulting.
It really is insulting. And of course, all of this is on top of the fact that Maryland taxes retirement income. So it's like, well, if that isn't enough, and if it isn't enough that we have some of the highest electricity rates in the country and prices in the country, well, seniors have to pay this additional amount too when they're just trying to have fun. And I agree with you. I do love my state. I just can't stand the way it's governed. And it's been that way for a long time.
What do you? There's also this new tech tax that's going to be in effect, and what does that say to businesses? What do you say to businesses who are considering moving to Maryland or who are here? And certainly in our increasingly virtual world, they don't have to be. Have you had any conversations with some of these companies that it might be considering a move, or companies that are no longer going to move to Maryland?
Absolutely. So here's an example. So Delegate Brian Crosby, I serve on the same committee as he does. He is from St. Mary's County. He owns his own government contracting business in St. Mary's County, and he moved his company. He has moved his company to Norfolk in Virginia because of this particular tax. Now, Brian Crosby is a Democrat, and get this, he voted against the taxes, but he voted for the budget that spends all the taxes. And by the way, Brian's a really nice guy and so forth, but he told me, he's like off record. He's like, look, Mark, I had to move my business, and the Democrat majority, the leadership, penalized him and said, how dare you move your business? And he's like, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still a business person. It's ridiculous. So Zoom, get this, Zoom sent out an email and said, oh, by the way, you're going to have to pay 3% for using Zoom. Now, Zoom charges 6% when you buy their product. Of course, that's the sales tax that's added to the price. But now if you're a Zoom user, an enterprise user, there is a 3% tax. So you're literally being charged twice in Maryland for the service.
50% more, by the way, on that extra Maryland tax. So, and here's the problem. They enacted all of these taxes thinking that they were going to be able to balance the budget with all the spending they've added to the Maryland budget, which is already bloated as it was, as Westmore inherited a surplus, and now he's blown through that without even looking. The problem is when you tax things like this, like tech services, it's a really easy thing for people to just move or get those services out of state because it's virtual. So, I mean, they may expect to have all this money coming in, but the money's not going to come because people are going to leave. They projected to make, $700 million in the next 10 years. That ain't happening, Delegate Fisher.
It's really not, and you nailed it. Tech companies, more than any others, and any other companies, are super mobile. They can just move because, as you said, it's virtual. And I'm sure that there are others that are moving, but I just gave the great example of Brian Crosby, who's a very nice man and just decided it was time to move. But the future of our economy in Maryland is without question an IT future. It's without question a technology future. And when you are absolutely taxing these technology companies and you have the highest electricity rates, some of the highest electricity rates in the country, you have really high income taxes, you have capital gains surcharges, so that one day when you sell your business, you're penalized for that. You're penalizing seniors and you're still charging them income tax. It does make it somewhat unlivable.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I've found out now that we're spending more money out of our budget to pay for the killing of unborn babies. As you know, I guess Westmore has to shore up his support in the abortion portion of the Democrat Party if he wants to run nationwide. So as they raise my taxes on everything, I now get the benefit of knowing that part of my money out of my pocket is going to go for something that I am so fundamentally morally opposed to.
Yes, and likewise, I remember a few years ago, Maryland was debating in the legislature the end-of-life bill as well as this bill, and then they put it on the ballot, and it wasn't enough for them to say, you have the right to abort a child up until and including the day of birth. Now they want others to pay for it, and it's very insulting, I think, to people of faith. Of which I am one, but this is one of the many. This is one of the many things the state does, and it's just constantly overreaching in every area of your life, and including your financial life, as we all know.
Yeah. Are there any cracks beginning to show here with this Democrat stronghold in Maryland? Is there anything that can be done other than to just get rid of the governor and begin the process, hopefully, of bringing sanity back? It seems like Maryland goes through these cycles where we go nuts with the Democrat and they tax us up the wazoo. People get angry, and maybe, just maybe, we're able to get a Republican in there to bring some sanity to the equation.
I have some really good news. There is a lot of dark money that is coming into Maryland now, running ads for Governor Moore, and saying how wonderful he is. So he is running scared. That's what that means. People think, oh, no, that makes him unbeatable. No, it means he is running really, really scared. The Democrat Party just sent out, and I believe I may have sent this to you guys, they just sent out for all of the legislators, the Democrat legislators, they did an attack piece, mail piece and digital piece on every single Republican in the legislature saying that they're trying to cut Medicaid. Which is the state version of Medicare. And what they're doing is, of course, is deflecting from all of their taxes that start July 1st, because that mail piece was scheduled to go out just as all of their taxes were scheduled to go into effect. So they are really, really running scared, and they should be. They absolutely should be.
Yeah, if they shouldn't have to worry about Republicans in any way whatsoever, and they certainly shouldn't have to worry about bolstering Wes Moore here 2 years before he runs for re-election. And if they are, it's because they've seen some polling here that shows that he is not nearly as popular. But he does have a fantastic smile. You can't take that away from him, Delegate Fisher.
He is such a great smiler, I mean. And
honestly,
And by the way, it's not, the taxes aren't affecting the middle class, according to him. You're not getting any tax increases.
The middle class, again, exactly. The only senior citizens that are going out fishing are the rich ones. You know why? Because if you're a middle class senior and you're retired, you are working. You have a job right now in your retirement if you're living in Maryland. Thank you, Delegate Fisher. Good talking with you. It's 7:15.